Have they forgotten about the UK? Have they forgotten about the UK?
Like, have they just deliberately decided to prioritize, like...
I think there's an onus on some of the smaller fighters to put pressure on their promoters, the up-and-coming talent. They
What
have
do
to
you
put...
mean?
So if you're a yard's not really up-and-coming, but if you are a yard, or if you are somebody that's on that fringe level, you've got to be pushing to get yourself out there to build your audience. Because at some point, I don't think it's deliberate, but I think they're dropping the ball a little bit. Because right now, Saudi's going to pay big money for big fights. But when these men leave, when the top 5-6 fighters leave the sport, Canelo, AJ, Fury, Ngannou, Wilder, whoever else, right? Bud
Canelo,
Crawford.
whoever.
Right, once they leave, Saudi are not going to put up big money for these little man fights that people don't know.
That's a fact.
So we need to be building, there has to be a consistent pipeline of building fighters to get to the point where you can cash in the big money. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't have a Las Vegas night if no one in the UK knows you.
That's a fact. And I feel like there's been a almost, other than Ben Shalom, who's just putting on just terrible
Anything,
cards,
yeah, putting on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's actually trying to invest in the UK market. When Eddie Hearn first came into the UK market, he was signing guys on the come up, and he was trying to put on domestic fights within the UK that were getting people talking. Whether it was Groves Froch, whether it was Hatton Brook, whether it was AJ White. You know, there were fights, David Hay, Audley Harrison. There were fights in the UK that were getting people's attention. Now he's gone to... America, and now then Saudi and wherever else in the world. I feel like he's almost forgotten that foundation, and he's prioritized other things.
They used to have like reasonably competitive fights, not world level fights, but national level fights, European level fights, monthly.
He would
maybe fortnightly.
I think 2018 or 2019, Eddie Hearn had like 9 pay-per-views in 1 year.
Not all of them were good quality though.
No, but he had 3 White fights, which were he had...
Yeah, White, but some of them, again, White, Lucas Brown should never have been pay-per-view.
I don't think that was pay-per-view, you know, but he had Parker White, pay-per-view.
White Parker was pay-per-view.
Chisora White was pay-per-view. He had...
Chisora White as pay-per-view is criminal.
No, I think that was a good pay-per-view. Bro, I don't think... Bro, if it does 400 it done 400 pay-per-view buys. So it can't be. It can't... If it does 400 pay-per-view buys, then it's not a bad pay-per-view.
So it's not about the level of the fighter then. If there's 2 people that fight that are famous, then it has to be pay-per-view. This is why we have influencer boxing.
No, but if it's a good fight, it's a good fight.
This is why we have influencer boxing.
No, but at that time, Dillian Whyte was a world level fighter. Was he not?
No, he'd lost to AJ.
One fight.
But AJ also was not yet a confirmed world level fighter.
No, he was.
Was he world champion at that time?
Yeah, he was world champion.
Was that a title defense? That wasn't a title defense.
When what?
When AJ beat White.
No, but when White fought Chisora, AJ was already a unified champion. So
yeah, but at that time, Dillian Whyte had lost to AJ, and at the time he lost to AJ, AJ was not yet a world champion. And then who had he fought before Chisora that was world level? AJ.
Parker. He fought Parker, and he beat Parker.
Was that before Chisora?
The second fight, which was pay-per-view.
Fair enough.
At that time, looking at the landscape, Dillian Whyte was what? There was no Fury at that time.
Yep.
He was what, the 3rd or 4th best heavyweight in the world.
Yeah.
So I feel like
on paper, yeah.
And in this country, he was making enough numbers. So at that time, my argument was, I think, was that at that time, Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren were investing a lot in this country, whether it was in Frampton, whether it was Warrington. Dubois, like there were people who they were investing in who could actually move the needle.
But we had this conversation before. We had this conversation on the show a month ago, something where we said, who's the next crop? Who's coming through? And at the moment, it's kind of quiet still. And you said yourself you predicted that boxing in Britain is gonna go back to the dark ages after these men are gone. That's what you said.
If you go, all you need to do, and it's there. 2019, I said this. In 2019, I said British boxing is on the crossroads. It's an article that's on Google right now. All you need to do is type in British boxing at a crossroads. The first thing you will see will pop up is the article that I wrote. And I saw this because I saw Eddie Hearn invest in fighters outside of the country. I know there's only a pool of money that you can distribute. I didn't see him investing in any youngsters other than Conor Benn. And for me, when he first came in, he was investing in AJ. He was investing in Brook. He was investing in fighters.
Josh Kelly,
Joshua Boatsi. There were people he was in, Lawrence Okoli. Like there was people, Dillian Whyte. There was so many people he was investing in. Same thing with Frank. Frank was invested in Joe Joyce. He invested in Dubois. He invested in.
Was Chamberlain his, or was that Eddie's as well?
Chamberlain was his. Was
Eddie's at first.
He invested in Anthony Yard. He invested in Sonny Edwards because Sonny Edwards was his fighter. He invested in Warrington. That's my point.
The other Edwards brother as well.
Exactly. That's my point. He was investing in Billy Joe Saunders. You could see that. If I was to ask you to name 10 fighters right now between the two of us, we couldn't name 10.
No.
We couldn't name 10 fighters that they're investing in right now.
No.
Couldn't name them.
Sam Noakes,
my boy. Fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, it's a struggle, bro.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's, other than Ben Shalom, he's just giving money to people that don't deserve it.
Is this maybe because we're seeing, at that time, we were having good fights? I get that Chisora was a sellable name. White was fringe world level / world level, whatever. But are we just in a moment right now where we're seeing, or on the edge of seeing, a lot of the fights that we've been waiting for a long time? That in the last couple of years, we've now got. Last year was insane. For the lightweight division was insane. The welterweight division was insane. Currently, the heavyweight division. We're going to have a conversation about that. So we're starting to see all of these fights. So is it a case of some of you, man, just have to take a back step, let these big fights happen? Do you know what I'm saying? I know maybe we should be getting people on the screen. These big fights are happening, and then we're going to take that money as these men cash out of the sport. We're going to take this money, then we're going to be putting it into the Sam Noakeses and these guys.
Do you not feel like you want to do it like not? You want to almost you do before it gets too late.
In an ideal situation, of course, but these fights are not only very, very big and very time consuming to do, but they're very fragile.
Of course.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when man are in camp, you want to, especially people like Tyson Fury that are headbutting walls to get out of fights, like, you want to wrap these man up in cotton wool. You said before that boxers are some of the most sensitive.
Facts.
They're some of the toughest athletes, but they're some of the most sensitive. Emotionally and mentally, some of the most sensitive guys. Let me not say mentally, because Laurie will burst through the wall and start attacking me. But there's, do you know what I mean? Like, these man, it's very, very tender. And so if you do have a fight on that's a Joshua Ngannou, a Fury Wilder, a Fury Usyk, you and especially, do you know why as well? These men are in Saudi. So we can't even, I'd have to leave Saudi to come and check on other fighters and start putting on shows and blah, blah. It's too, that's the problem with those fights being abroad. It's too time consuming.
I get that, but here's the thing, and here's the issue that I have.
Yeah.
Where you have Fraser Clark versus Woodley as a main event, you have that as a co-main. You have that as a co-main for two established stars. How AJ made his name was he was always on Kell Brook undercards. He was always on Carl Froch undercards. Yeah. So when you're going to watch them, you're going to watch him. Same thing with Katie Taylor. She was always on.
There's a difference there though. Those guys were already well known because they were both Olympic champions.
Yep.
And then they already had a name, especially AJ, who was knocking people out.
Facts.
And was getting highlight reel finishes. So that doesn't necessarily work for some of the other people.
I do think Woodley is, if we be honest, Woodley is one of the most marketable fighters that we have. And I just feel like someone's missed the boat in this one.
But to be fair, again, AJ was groomed from a young age, but he was groomed from the Olympics or before the Olympics to be a
Philip Schofield.
Yeah, bro, to be a world champion. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas they're looking at Wardley going, you're probably not going to be world champion.
True.
The age that he's at and everything like, you're probably not going to be world champion. And that's again, when you're in an era of these men are in spitting distance of world champions, everything that's not world champion seems dull. Do you know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah, I get that. That's a good point. But then
when these men didn't have no world champions, like, of course, man was throwing Chisora out every few months or every other week or whatever the case may be. Now they've got world champions. There's bare man we don't hear about. We're just not hearing of these guys. Where are they? Do you know what I'm saying?
And I do feel we did speak about this in America, where Oscar was saying it loses the limelight in America. the difference with America is America will always have that talent pool.
100%.
You're always gonna like what Ray Ford just won 2 weeks ago. This guy's like 24. You know what I'm saying? Like you're always gonna have that talent pool of fighters who, no matter what, they're just head and shoulders. They're gonna find another Crawford. They're gonna find another Shakur. They're gonna Devin and Shakur. They're still under 26.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're still gonna have that talent pool. When you look at the UK, you had a golden generation. I know people don't like to say it, but AJ was part of a golden generation in the sense that he could sell and he became world champion. I know people like to criticize him.
When did Britain last have 2 world champion heavyweights? Not necessarily holding the belts at the same time, but in the same
era. I mean, I don't think they were the best, but Lennox was the best, and then you had Frank Bruno, who was under, but he was still a top level of fighter.
Was Frank Bruno world champion?
He was world champion at one
point.
stage.
Okay, cool. So you're going all the way back there.
Yeah.
Which is what? Late 80s, early 90s?
Well, Frank Bruno was early 90s, mid 90s, and Lennox was.
So you're going back 30 years?
Yeah.
You're going back 30 years. Do you know what I'm saying? For 2 British boxers that have held world titles at varying stages, but you could put, and we could potentially put on an undisputed heavyweight fight
with 2
heavyweights from Britain.
So what are we saying? We got to wait every 30 years for it?
But Britain's small. The thing is with Britain as well, you've got to look at how, and the way that we back talent in this country, it's like we don't need as many as America. Yes, America have an insane talent pool of boxing,
no, you're right, though.
but we don't need that many. Like, in fact, in
England, champion.
In England, it's too busy if there's too many. We only want 3 or 4. Facts. We need 3 or 4 man that everyone can get behind. Not even everyone. We need somebody from London, 1 or 2 from London that everyone can get behind, someone from the Northwest or someone from the North that everyone can get behind, someone from the Midlands. Perfect. That's done.
And you know why that's perfect? Because you build other fighters just on the undercard.
Yeah.
And I
still think one of the best things that Eddie Hearn did with AJ, especially because AJ is a person of colour, is after he won the Olympics, and British people love the Olympics, he boxed him in mad different major cities across the country.
Facts.
So by the time AJ became a world champion, the entire country had seen him, of boxing fans, had gone to fights and seen him fight.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean? So if somebody's fighting who's big in Leeds, AJ's on the undercard. Someone's fighting who's big in Bournemouth, AJ's on the undercard.
He done that with Katie Taylor as well.
100%. Do you know what I'm saying? And they have an established fan base because all the black people are going to support AJ because he's black. All the Irish people are going to support Katie Taylor, and then they build on that and you start roping in other people, and then now they've got a massive fan base. I think that was genius.
But that's my point. They've all abandoned that. Everyone.
When's the next Olympics?
20
next year. No, next year.
Yeah, but even with that though, I'm just talking about.
But is the Olympics this year? Is this year?
Yeah, Olympics is this year.
Yeah, so we might give it till next year. This year, big fights, undisputed fights, and all that. Let's pattern that.
So you don't think they've abandoned that, or they put it on hold?
I think it's on hold. I think it's on hold. And are there people out there? If there are people out there, okay, we could say Ben Whittaker. Do you know what I'm saying? We talked about his style, we criticised his style, but that's somebody that's generating interest. That's generating views. That's generating. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, the question is, how do you not drop the ball on that? How do you monetize that? Do you know what I'm saying? That's what's really important.
I think it comes down to what you said though, in terms of the idea of world champions. I think we almost need to go back to where we used to be in Britain, where being a world champion wasn't the be all and end all. Can you sell out 20,000? You know what I'm saying? Can you sell out 15,000? You know, people wasn't watching Carl Froch. I'm saying Carl Froch and George Gold because there's a world title, and people were just got the rivalry. Amir Khan and Kell Brook. That they were never the best 2 welterweights, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just one of those things.
Kell Brook was up there.
Yeah, no, but usually with Pacquiao and Floyd, you know what I'm saying? So
Errol
Spence, you know what I'm saying? So
I think that's what you have to not realize, because I know you already know, but America's going to have a conveyor belt of talent, whereas England and Britain is going to be up and down. It's going to be more cyclical, and I think we will go into this Olympics, see some of these younger whippersnappers put on a great show, come out, and then start building that next generation. Do you know what I mean? But we need more. That's why people didn't like us criticizing Ben Whittaker, because we need personalities. Look at David Haye.
Facts.
Do you know what I'm saying?
But David Haye became a world champion.
At cruiserweight?
Yeah, and he won a version of a world title at heavyweight.
Fine. Speaking of heavyweights, Dillian Whyte is back.
Yeah, he's fighting next week.
He said that he's been talking to Laurie. He said exactly word for word what Laurie said about Ngannou. Did you see it?
What?
He said this guy wouldn't win a Southern area title.
Yeah, he's been listening to Laurie.
100%. That's mad.
Laurie.
He said like he's basically, and I like this as well because it means that the rivalry between AJ and White is never done.
Never.
Do you know what I mean? But he's like, so who cares? You're an ex-world champion and you beat someone who wouldn't win a Southern area title. That's what you should do. What
I'm
a
not
joke.
gonna lie, you're right when you're talking about personalities because Dillian Whyte, it had to be Dillian, innit?
This is why Dillian is my guy. Even though I cuss him, this is why Dillian's my guy. Because he can walk. Dylan's one of them personalities. He can walk into a room and just take the attention out of the, with no belt.
No one, even Fury was praising AJ. No one has discredited AJ.
Only Fury has to because he lost to he drew or had a competitive fight with Ngannou.
Yeah.
So he has to. He put himself in that position. If Fury had comprehensively outboxed him and won on points 12-0, then Fury would never have given AJ the credit. But
so
Dillian Whyte is so sick for that because he's just so
Dillian, fam. It's just so Dillian.
Yeah.
Like it's so Dillian's the type of guy, yeah, bro. He done it when he got knocked out by AJ. He's like, bro, we'll knock him out next time. Like this guy, like he's that guy, yeah. You know, yeah, when you're in school and you got that little year 8, year 7, he's like, you waste man, and you beat him up, and then you walk 5 months later, and he's still talking. Fam, like shut up, bro. This guy just Dylan's a funny guy.
You can't punch him quiet.
Literally.
That's not gonna do nothing. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Dylan's back, and I have to say I'm excited for him to be back.
Me.
I know the performance is gonna be stinky. The performance is gonna be so stinky.
Christian Hammer, innit?
Yeah. It's gonna be such a stinky fight. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'm just glad to have him back, man. He's got a couple. You know, we thought he was done. Man, come back.
Maybe 4 or 5 big fights.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got a few big fights still.
I can see him versus Dubois potentially. Definitely him versus AJ.
That's always going to be there.
That's always going to be there.
Yeah. Even as a co-main, because these men love their co-main events these days. If all,
AJ will never be a co-main.
I'm saying if all of their stock were to drop, like we don't know if they fought in like 2 years from now and their stock, they were at like an Amir Khan, Kell Brook level of like stock had dropped. This is why
always... I kind of wish Joe Miller beat Dubois, you know. Because that would have been
to have it's just the press conferences. Can you imagine the press conference of like AJ Fury and then White Miller?
Yeah.
That would just be no one could get a word in. AJ would just be there, quiet. AJ would be the quietest person
literally.
Yeah.
Literally, you'd have thought Dev was the person.
Yeah, 100%. Real talk. Shout out Dev, man.
Man's like, bro, you can't ask me no questions.
Why are you asking me? Are you my promoter?
Literally.
Oh man, yeah. I'm glad to see White back. I'm hoping it's a comprehensive knockout because he does need to be convincing. After 2 years out of the ring, if he wants paydays going forward
fights.
And some horrible performance, the last couple performances we've seen have been
the Franklin
awful.
one and the Fury one.
The Franklin one, okay, fine. Franklin's small and he's awkward, and AJ took him to points and whatever. The Fury one is. The Fury one is indefensible. The Fury one is one of the performances that made everyone think, oh, Fury's going to dust AJ because it was just so bad. It was stinky.
I just think it was one of the ones where people thought White was done.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It was such a bad performance that it was just, that was stinky still. But I think the fight's going to be terrible. But then I think he's going to knock out Hammer. Yeah.
He should. Hammer's old and dusty, bro. Hammer ain't fought in years, bro. Like,
remember they used to try to wheel out Manuel Char and all that.
I don't know where they dug him up from, bro.
Yeah, literally.
These guys were going shopping for fighters in the cemetery, bro.
Yeah.
But,
so that's why.
Speaking of fights in the UK, though, that fight got postponed, innit? Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall.
Yeah. Disappointing. Who's injured? Taylor.
Taylor got injured.
It's just such bad. Obviously, he's injured, innit? Josh Taylor's not someone to fake an injury, innit? Like other certain man, but it's just stinky, bro. It's just more stinky. It's just not good.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad it was Taylor that got injured. Because if it was Catterall, Catterall would have tried to fight.
Yeah, Catterall would fight anyway.
Tried to fight.
Yeah, 100%.
And I wouldn't want an excuse after the fact.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So,
well, we might still get an excuse now if Catterall beats him.
Nah, bro. For me,
we'll get an excuse. It just won't be accepted. But we'll still get an excuse.
I don't know. I don't think we will.
How long is it postponed for?
think 6 to 8 weeks. I'm hearing.
Okay.
6 to 8
That
weeks.
fight should still happen. Still excited to see that fight. We could talk about that more
But
when we get nearer to the time.
injury. I think the injury is obviously real.
Yeah.
It ain't like a fake
All injuries are real apart from 1 or 2 people, and we know who they are. There's not many people in boxing that get injured and you think, are they really injured? There's only a couple.
Boy, I don't even know. It's mad. Because what? Josh Tate, it's like a month out. That's the thing. It's just so tight. Like, it's one of those ones where you just kind of think to yourself, is this fight just never going to happen?
No, it will happen. It will happen.
I wasn't even excited about the fight anyway.
Yeah, the problem is it's losing steam, but I still think it will happen. We've gone too far to not.
That fight's going to need a good undercard.
Yeah.
And back to what you're saying.
And it won't happen.
Speaking of what you're saying though, bro, undercards.
Yep.
We still ain't heard the 5v5, bro.
They're talking about, have you seen that now they want another 5v5 in the UK? Speaking of building, so they want to do the 5v5 in Saudi, and then they want to do another one in the UK, Queensbury versus Matchroom. And that's going to be, again, what you're saying about trying to start building the new...
But you did say this before, innit? They're going to build this up so much before
they're going to build it
even
up
announce
loads and loads and loads. They're probably going to start selling tickets. I wouldn't put it past Eddie. In fact, I wouldn't put it past Frank either. But he'll let Eddie be the front man because Eddie's shameless. But I wouldn't put it past Eddie and Frank to start selling tickets for these events and not have maybe one name. These men will be like, Anthony Yard's going to be on the card and then start selling tickets.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
That's
surprised.
what they'll do.
Definitely.
And then it won't be Bawatsi. You know what I'm saying? It won't be anyone that want to see.
Or Callum Smith.
Yeah. 100%. That's exactly what these men will do. 100%. I called it before. I'm a salesman, blood. I know what sales looks like.
I'm just thinking to myself, like, bro, the more and more I think about this, the more and more I'm struggling to see why the hold-up is for no names. Like, bro, we're literally, 2 months away?
We'll see Ben Whittaker on that card.
Ben Whittaker's with Shalom.
That's true.
Who are you going to see on that, bro?
I'll tell you who we can. Segue time. Who we might see on that card, but we don't know what side of the card they might be on. Chris Eubank Jr. Have you heard the news about him today?
Yeah, that he's free agent.
He's a free agent.
I kind of thought that was irrelevant anyway.
No. He's like a Dillian Whyte. He fights on a fight-by-fight basis regardless.
And he was signed to Wasserman, who never had a broadcasting deal. So you could fight anywhere. Like, it doesn't... that's the most pointless information. Oh, I'm free. Like, cool, bro. You're free anyway.
That's what it's like. It's like in football when they say like a footballer's like issued a come and get me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
David Benavides, bro.
Yeah, it's like I would be open to playing for, like, do you know what I'm saying?
Come on,
you know, like when a footballer says like, "Oh, Arsenal's always been my dream" in that interview.
Come on,
like, allow it, bro. Like, it's sad. Like, it's actually sad.
It's so embarrassing. Like, if I'm being dead honest, Eubank is. I mean, before that, we heard Eubank was supposed to be fighting Crawford.
Yep.
I mean,
will Eddie try to get in on that?
No, Eddie's already said he don't see the fight happening.
Yeah.
But Eddie don't want to work with Eubank unless it's for Conor Ben. He doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
The only, to be honest,
but him and Conor Ben can still fight in Saudi.
I heard, bro. I'm hearing Ben versus Pacquiao.
That's so dead. It's very stinky. I'm not gonna lie. All of these men are very stinky.
But it's desperate though, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. It's so desperate, bro.
But what are you gonna do with Ben, bro? What are you gonna do with him?
Just fight him against Eubank in Saudi.
Bro, Ben don't want... Eubank don't want that fight.
Why not?
I was just hearing bare negotiations falling through the floor.
These men are all overpriced. That's what it is.
But you know what, though, yeah? I'm actually in a situation where, even though I'm loving boxing at this time, I'm also hating boxing as well because I'm starting to lose... I can't really foresee the future. Like, it's doing good for now, but there is no future to it.
Man should not be sitting here in March of 2024 talking about, and I know it's influencer scene, we shouldn't be talking about Mike Tyson, boxing, Manny Pacquiao, boxing. Like some of these man, it's just like, even though I saw some talk of like David Hay trying to make a comeback fight. Bro, we shouldn't be seeing these names in 2024.
We're seeing, well, we're probably going to get to this later, but like I just think people are just throwing out desperation fights. Munguia versus Canelo, good fight, but you just think to yourself, like, there is no future or legs in that. Like, PBC are putting it on. It's not even the zone. If the zone were putting it on, it made sense because you could almost market it as passing of the sword. But
the zone ain't got the money for
Munguia isn't even a PBC fighter, and this is Canelo's last fight on PBC. So what are you actually doing? You're just doing it for a quick cash out, bro. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, like,
that makes sense though from a PBC perspective, but it don't really make sense from a Canelo perspective. What does it?
Bro, I don't even know. Bro, Canelo's just trying to make as much money for the least amount of risk. And
I feel like he's waiting because his last couple performances have been stinky. I feel like if he
maybe his last four
if he ends a fight with like a devastating knockout, I think he'll bow out. I think he needs one big knockout to say I retired at the top. Look at me, I was great. Even though there's food on the table. Like, he could never retire after that John Ryder performance.
No way.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Or Jamal Charlo.
Or Charlo.
Or
do you know what I'm saying? Like, he could never retire
Bivol.
after that. Do you know what I'm saying? But, like, he needs what I reckon he's looking to just cash out, which is cool. He's at that stage in his career, got a lot of miles on the clock. And I still really, really love the early part of his career. But I feel like if he has a little couple KOs, devastating KOs, he'll bow out and run the narrative.
What fight are you looking forward to the most right now in boxing?
Usyk Fury.
More than Bivol Beterbiev. That's June 1st.
Yeah, because of what it does for the landscape. Bivol Beterbiev, I think, will be a better fight. That I'm looking forward to for the fight, for the actual fight. Do you know what I'm saying? But what this will,
it'll put an end of a chapter, innit?
Like, the chapter's bro. Someone's
if Usyk beats Fury,
they're both undefeated, right?
Yeah.
Bruv. This is what I'm saying. This is someone's gotta go, bro.
If Usyk beats Fury...
I guess the same as Bivol and Beterbiev.
Yeah, but I get what you mean, though, because we haven't been following Bivol Beterbiev's journey as long as you've been following... Like, this has been gone as far back as the Klitschko's, because we haven't seen an undisputed since Lennox.
Yeah.
I know with light heavyweight, we haven't seen an undisputed in a while as well, but the difference with Beterbiev and Bivol's always been the best.
Do you know what it is? It's the end of narratives.
Facts.
We know Beterbiev and Bivol are the best two guys.
And they've been that for years.
They've been that for years. So from a boxing perspective, cool. The Russian issue, they didn't get the fight going, safe. Do you know what I'm saying? But for anyone that's watching this not in the UK, I'm telling you now, UK fans are split 50-50 on Tyson Fury. Half the country say this guy, if he turns up on his day, he's the best world champion. He's up there with his best heavyweight. He's up there with Muhammad Ali. He's the guy. He's one of the GOATs. If he beats Usyk, he could be in that GOAT conversation.
Facts.
He's up there. The other half say, bruv, this guy's a fraud. He's a bum. He's a scrub.
And he's
been
not
like
serious.
He's gonna get dusted. He's been like that for years. He's picked convenient people. He's manufactured his career. It's all on paper. He's a paper champion. And if Usyk beats him, then that's gonna show it because he's gonna get outboxed by a cruiserweight. So it's good. So one of these,
but then
it's gonna be right.
It takes you even further because if Usyk wins, it also ends the chapter of who's the best heavyweight in this era.
Yes,
because if Fury
he's already beat
he's already
AJ
been
twice.
AJ. So yeah, I'm saying, and Fury has already beat Wilder. The American fans, their chapter's been closed.
Yeah.
Wilder's been defeated.
Yeah.
So it's been going back from when Usyk, AJ and Fury were champions.
Wilder's been defeated twice.
I mean, Wilder
by two different fighters.
Like, Wilder and AJ were champions. When Wilder and AJ were champions, there was this back and forth. They both lost. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like
AJ's also lost and rebuilt himself and come back. Wilder's lost and then lost again.
Because if Fury wins, people can still say, well, maybe AJ is the best heavyweight in the world, maybe Fury. If Usyk wins, the chapter's closed. Yeah. AJ can't say you lost twice. Yeah. Fury can't say you just lost. You know what I'm saying? It's the end of the era.
And this is what's annoying about Fury. What is a loss? Is a Fury win or a Fury loss pulling us closer to having a Fury AJ fight? I think what makes that more likely, because this is AJ,
Fury win.
Because this is the problem with Fury. He's so unpredictable.
If Fury loses to Usyk,
he's retiring.
There's a high chance he retires or he rematches and loses and retires. Regardless, if he loses,
He's never fighting.
He's never fighting AJ again. He will never. The reason how I know this,
he can say I lost to the greatest heavyweight of the generation or whatever, or I was too old, or I was the great. He'll say I was the greatest heavyweight of my generation. I was just about to say that. I was the greatest heavyweight of my generation, and then Usyk is the greatest heavyweight of the next generation.
I was just about to say
even though Usyk is older than Tyson Fury,
but he would more put it as they saw like they waited until perfect time until I was old and done. Like I was finished from the Ngannou fight. I was going through mental issues. You could hear the narrative.
He's gonna claim mental health issues regardless of what happens. He could win and start claiming mental health issues. Don't matter. We got people watching these videos putting comments on TikTok and stuff saying, "Oh, he's got mental health issues. He wasn't mentally there against Ngannou." Already, you man are already making these excuses, bro. Facts. Have some shame.
Facts.
Have some shame, bro.
But you know what though? Yeah, I'll be honest. And I'm going to say this as well. We, and many people have, including yourself, no, I'm not going to turn into Laurie here, but we've questioned AJ's mental toughness. But I would say Fury's mentally weaker than AJ.
I would go with that, yeah. It's difficult. It's difficult because we haven't seen Fury lose. So we haven't seen, what we've seen Fury do is crack under the pressure.
And we've seen Fury make excuses.
But we haven't seen him lose.
Bro,
we've seen him make excuses, but we haven't actually seen him lose.
We've seen him. Well, you could say you saw him lose to Ngannou.
I hear that, but we haven't seen him lose.
Oh no, but is it not a mental weakness to be complacent? That is a mental weakness.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But
we're gonna clip this. You know, is Fury mentally weaker than AJ?
It's a good question because like I say, I think certain man, if you're looking at like a Jesse Lingard or maybe even a Marcus, certain man are not mentally built to be at the top. You could see that when Tyson Fury got to the top and he was the champion, man cracked under that pressure. He did. Facts. He couldn't fight off that pressure. He couldn't hold on to the belt for a prolonged period of time. Facts. Do you know what I'm saying? He couldn't.
Yeah.
Do you know and he won the belt.
When he beat Klitschko, you talking?
Yeah, when he beat Klitschko. Yeah.
Bro, as I said,
bro, even now he's got the belt back from Wilder. And how many title defenses he had? 3?
3.
Against.
I wouldn't even count the Ngannou one. Wilder won. Yeah. The Chisora and White. I can't count
those are not, in my opinion. Well, White was, but they left him. That's partly down to Wilder because Wilder left him on the bench for ages. But the Chisora one is not a legitimate title defense.
Of course not.
So you defended it against the guy that you already beat to take it, and then you got one legit title defense apart from that.
Which we say is arguably one of the worst.
It is, but we say that all the time.
No, but it was a bad.
It was. I agree, but like Cecil and Robbie were bantering us. Like you can't say this every time someone loses. There was a bad night.
Yeah,
but do you know what I'm saying? But it's true. But it is true. Like those are the facts. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas AJ, you look at AJ's title defenses.
It takes mental. Like AJ don't overlook fighters.
Yeah.
AJ goes in there mentally and physically prepared every time.
In fact, if Tyson Fury loses and then doesn't take the rematch, he'll officially be mentally weaker than AJ. Because AJ lost to 2 fighters and got back in there straight away both times. He went straight back against Ruiz. If you remember against Ruiz, lots of people saying it's too soon, take a break.
Facts.
He didn't take a break. He went straight back in, outboxed him.
Everyone was saying don't fight Usyk again. Yeah. Everyone said that because they could only see the same thing. Yeah. So again, we've seen mental toughness in AJ.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm going to send this to Laurie. But
when I talk about AJ's mental fragility, what I'm saying is, in long term, he's had very good mental strength. But what I'm saying is, in a press conference, if you're looking at back when we considered the top 4 heavyweights to be White, AJ, Wilder, and Fury, who did you think you could rattle the most in a press conference? You could rattle AJ. AJ used to get rattled. AJ used to get rattled. AJ used to get rattled. But Wilder never used to seem to get rattled until he met Fury. Fury was the first time we saw him get rattled. AJ used to get rattled by everything. AJ used to get rattled by everything, bro. Everything. Remember, AJ never used to do no media.
Yeah.
There's years.
Or selected.
There's years of like hardly any IFL or seconds out. Like I'm talking about when he's not got a fight. He's not available to the public. Facts. He's very protected.
Yeah, he's very protected.
Very, very protected.
And then he done that one speech on the Black Lives Matter march.
Oh my brother. Look what Shane's trying to...
Bro, I'm just telling you.
Look what Shane's trying to take this conversation.
Man turned into Martin Luther King.
But I'm just saying, he does have mental strength, 100%. But outside of the ring, I think he's very rattleable. And the other thing is, when I was talking about mental strength, I think I should have prefaced that by saying like in-ring defense. Do you know what I'm saying? Like survival, in-ring survival. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I also thought, and I do think there was definite signs, because I have said this, like, AJ has shown mental weakness in fights.
Yeah.
Where when AJ got off the canvas against Ruiz, there was a clip that got taken down off YouTube. I'll see if I can find it again. Where they showed Sean Porter, it's the same year, Sean Porter got dropped by Errol Spence. You saw the reaction in Sean Porter. Like, no, let's have it.
Yeah.
You saw the almost, like...
Went into a show.
Yeah, you went in... That's a mental weakness. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah. That's a mental weakness. You saw in the 11th, 12th, and 10th, 11th, 12th round against Usyk, you saw a guy who, after 10 rounds, on the official scorecard, he was 1 round down. He just didn't try. He literally stopped trying after the 11th, 12th round. He stopped trying.
He accepted the defeat.
He accepted the defeat.
Yeah.
Like, we're in the 12th round and his back's against the ropes and he's sticking his tongue out. You're losing, bro. Yeah. You're flipping losing. Yeah. Like, that's a mental... I'm like, if you want to call it mental weakness or not, I don't know the word to use.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
But there's a word where you're like, bro, just have it. Like, just have it. Like, you can't go out like that. Like, there's certain fighters who they rather get knocked out clean than lose on points. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like this, bro. I remember when... Spurs was playing in the Champions League and they needed 1 goal to go through, and they took off a striker and brought in a midfielder. And I'm like, bro, I'd rather lose 5-0 than lose nil, then draw 0-0.
Leave it all on the pitch.
Leave it, bro. Yeah. I'd rather go all out and say, you know, I tried to win and I lost. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where you start taking off centre backs to bring on strikers and stuff.
Very
you know
conservative boxing.
That is that went through a phase. I saw him when he hurt Pulev in the 3rd round. It took him 4 rounds after that to put on the gas again. Yeah. It's like, bro, like you're not gonna get hit every time you go after an attack. That was a mental weakness.
It started to come back, right? So we saw then Franklin, relatively stinky, hurt him. AJ struggles with shorter heavyweights. I get that. The style was awkward. Franklin's never been knocked out. Fair enough.
Knocked out Robert
Helenius, again, I felt, round 9, took a little bit. He softened him up well and whatever. That was part of the game plan. I get that. Then Wallin, then Ngannou. And that confidence still seems to slowly have built up in amongst changes of trainer and changes of coach and stuff like that. But those guys are not world level guys. So now when we're getting back to world level guys, now we're getting back to the top table now. We're getting to Furies, we're getting to Usyks, we're getting to the AJ's next fight. We're expecting to be a world level fighter, a top 3, top 5 level fighter, top 3 level fighter. Someone that's in the conversation for best heavyweight of the generation. And he's in the conversation for best heavyweight of the generation, regardless of the losses. So now we need to see you apply this mentality. It's just like Arsenal, to use another football analogy. There's no point smoking, man, 5-6-0 when it's Sheffield and West Ham and then losing 1-0 to Porto. We need to see that ruthlessness at the top level. Otherwise, you are always going to be the Arsenal of the boxers.
Flat track bully. That's what they call it. Flat track bully.
That's exactly what it's looked like.
And AJ, I'll be honest, he has been one of the best flat track bullies we've seen in this country.
Yeah.
And that's not to discredit him. Yeah. It's just the truth. Like, Fury is one of the worst. Fury only performs against a fighter that's good.
Yeah.
If you ain't got no threat against Fury, there's a chance you might win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, flat track bully, he went 12 rounds in flipping Chisora. Yeah. So, that's my point. Like,
an old Chisora, not even the first fight. Like the second fight, Chisora's like
the first fight went 12 rounds when Fury was young. They fought 3 times, you know.
Oh yeah.
The second fight was, and the one the other day, the third fight where he went. I don't even know. I either went 12 or 11 rounds. Yeah. However many rounds. He took Chisora so many rounds. Yeah. Like, bruh, come on. You went the distance with Otto Wallin. Yeah. You went the distance with Pianetto. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. You didn't knock out Sefa Safiri. You stopped him, but you didn't knock him out. Like, come on. Yeah. At some stage, you got to start asking these questions. Yeah. But then you fight Wilder and you knock him out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you fight depending on the level of your opponent. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see... If we see Fury AJ, everything will be analysed. Even Fury's preparation, because he's always said he's AJ's trash. Fury's preparation for that fight would tell you how seriously he takes AJ. Do you know what I mean? Because Fury's preparation for Usyk tells us how seriously he takes Usyk.
You know the maddest thing is, for the future of boxing, I hope Fury wins.
Yeah.
But I want Usyk to win. Like, I've been a Usyk fan from the beginning.
For the future of boxing... For the sake of us seeing AJ Fury, I want Fury to win. And for the sake of us seeing a British undisputed heavyweight champion, I want Fury to win. But I don't see him winning.
Me neither.
I can't see him winning.
Like, No, I just don't see it either.
And the fight would be in Saudi, right?
Yeah.
I need to know who the referee is. I never want to go into a boxing match and be like, who's the ref? It's not football. Boxing should be much more clean cut than football. But
He might ask you the judges are, but not so much the
But I
referee.
want to know who the referee is, because it's like he's gonna lean on him. He's gonna be dirty. He's gonna throw
try.
elbows in there.
He's gonna
I know
try.
he's gonna try, but like, what is the ref gonna do in those moments? Because he will catch Usyk with a few of them. Usyk will move out of the way for most of it, but he will catch Usyk for a few.
You're right.
What is the ref gonna
And
do?
the truth
How
is-
is the ref gonna referee this fight? Because we see Tyson Fury get away with murder.
I can, bro. I'm telling you, I can see this right now. I can see because it might be very similar to Devin Haney-Lomachenko, where Devin Haney was using that overwhelming size and weight and Lomachenko was trying to just use skills, but I think the difference is pound for pound, Devin Haney has more skills than Fury does, pound for pound. I think the gap between Lomachenko and Devin for skills isn't going to be as big of a gap that there will be between Usyk and Fury.
I think also Usyk is going into heavyweight, so he's mentally prepared. Look, the size difference is very significant. The size difference between Lomachenko and Haney is a big difference. It's a big size difference because they're lightweights, but it's not in terms of walking around the world. If you're walking around these two men in the street, they look the same size roughly. Like the size difference between Fury and Usyk is massive, and Usyk is smart enough. His coaches and his management are smart enough to train for Fury's style. Like they'll be. Do you know what I mean? He's been in there. We saw him look a bit raggedy in the early rounds of Chisora.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Because Chisora was bullying him and throwing him around and being aggressive. And then once he started to, like we talk about downloading that data, once he got into gear, it was easy.
But I do think though, Fury's gonna almost have to replicate that style. But when have we seen Fury just bum rush people? When was the last time?
Wilder 3.
Wilder 3, he tried. Wilder 3, he tried, but even in Wilder 3, he was coming forward with calculated pressure. He wasn't just marching forward. He marched forward once and got dropped. But with Chisora was just bum rushing you. Bro, he was just doing anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, fam, I think that's the show.
And Ngannou's making excuses.
Yeah.
Do we want to see Ngannou back? Do you want to see Ngannou back?
Ngannou's done.
He's done?
Done, fam. You need to go back into MMA, bro. I didn't even think you should have been in boxing the first time. And Fury let you off the first time, but, bro, I knew you were going to get knocked out the next time.
He came, robbed the bank, made more money in those 2 fights than he's made for his whole career combined.
Facts.
And he's done. And he's bounced. He's out. Can't say fairer than that. Can't begrudge the man nothing.
Trust me.
Never stole from no one. Never screwed no one over. I guess there's hopefully MMA fans that want to see him fight John Jones. I don't really care about that. I'm not an MMA fan, but that's what they'll want to see. And that's it, bro.
Yeah, fam.
What episode is this? We didn't even introduce
14.
it, bro. 14. Say no more, blood. 14 episodes.
What episode do you reckon we'll be able to get to?
What do you mean?
Like, if there was a target that you had in mind, what episode would you want to get
I want to get to like 100 episodes. I'd be like, let's see where we're at after 100.
I hear you.
I think someone is saying to me, most podcasts don't make it past like 11, 12 episodes or something like that.
Well, we've already beaten that.
So we already beat that. And most YouTube channels don't make, only 1% of YouTube channels get past 1,000 subscribers. So if you're still here, like the video, subscribe to the channel, OnlyFacts Boxing. Nick, Shane, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, and obviously YouTube. This is the space, do you know what I'm saying? Let us know what you think about Canelo versus Munguia. Let us know what you think about Ngannou and his boxing career. Let us know what you think about Usyk versus Fury. I just want this fight to... I kind of want it to be done. The saga's so long, like it's just, do you know what I mean? It's like Dragon Ball Z, just happened already. Do you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's it, man. We're out. Peace.